Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course where we do encourage you to call in to join in. A lot on the plate today, folks. A lot I can offer up to you, and then of course we'll let you come on in and offer it up to us. Some things on my agenda just to take through. We're going to do a quick Baresha report right after the first break. Keith Golby will be here talking about the up-and-coming tasting / eye conference here in my office in July. Speaking of eyes, a cataract clinic completed yesterday. Got to give you a quick report on that. What else? Oh, Avzzia training. You were with me on Wednesday when you met a gentleman. His name was Lynn Teachworth. He got enough stirred up around here. Our phones rang off the hook. You responded. You enjoyed Lynn. And all I had to say about Avzzia, a little bit of a blurb coming to you about Avzzia training coming to town, and it'll be Lynn Teachworth who's doing the training. Anyway, I'll give you that about half past the hour, so you want to stay tuned for that one. Vaccines are in the news. There's going to be a lot in the news with this meningitis issue, and then we'll close it off with 7 ways to protect you against hospital errors, but this is the updated version. I've gone into this many times before in the past, and looks like we had to clean it up for 2015. Things that are on the radar screen today that never were envisioned by me. Well, you'll see what I mean when we get to it this morning. Anyway, that's on my plate. What's on yours? To call up and take over the thing so that you can tell us what's on your plate. The number to do that is 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262, and we'll give that number additionally throughout the hour. Okay, on Monday, Monday's show, we're going to do a quick, well, in one way repeat, another way not, but we're going to have Lynn Teachworth back on the show, and Mike Legal, who's the head and CEO, cook and bottle washer there at First Alternatives, I guess the marketing agent for the Avzzia units. Anyway, that'll become clearer as time moves on. Anyway, that's going to be the Monday show. That got put together literally in the course of about a 45-minute period yesterday afternoon. We keep quick paced around here. We had no idea yesterday morning that we were going to be doing that show on Monday, but here it is coming back to you. And it really is because you responded to Lynn Teachworth. I keep getting that wrong. Lynn Teachworth. And we heard your responses, and we did something about it. On, next Tuesday in the afternoon, free eye seminar at Strabane Trails Village. They tell me the room is really filling up. I'll be looking forward to meeting an entire group of you down there. If you think you're in that region, this is down close to the Meadowlands in Washington County, the casino, that area. Anyway, if you live in that area and you'd like to be a part of it, give us a call here to talk to Sister Sarah. The number is 724-993-0500. That's going to be Strabane Trails Village, 2:30 in the afternoon. 2:30 in the afternoon, a free eye seminar describing all of the great possibilities. If you are eye afflicted, whether it's retinal now or cataract, you may want to be a part of it, or bring the loved one or the acquaintance or the friend who has the problem and just doesn't know how to deal with it and is looking for some guidance. Anyway, once again, Strabane Trails Village. That's 2:30 on Tuesday. Tuesday being the last day of the month of June. As I flip the page and I'm looking into July, July is starting to shape up. Of course, Dr. Vavavoom herself, Susan Smith-Jones, is going to be our guest. She's going to be here on the 1st of the month. That is a Wednesday. First Wednesdays, 1st of the month. We've come to really expect Susan Smith-Jones to be here to launch each and every month, and she absolutely will be doing it in the month of July. The Beresha training and Beresha tasting is going to be held here on the 16th. I'll let Mr. Keith Golby talk about that. He's coming on board here in a few minutes anyway to give us a Beresha report. And the eye protocol for the month of July, as we have continued to announce it, is going to be the 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. If there's a slot or two left, we limit this to a very small number. We want to make sure that each patient gets individual attention. And so slot left, maybe 2 slots left, if you think you'd like to be a part of it. The next one, by the way, we finally have scheduled the August eye protocol. So if you're conflicted in July and you just can't do it, it's vacation month and things like that, you can now work off of knowing that the August eye protocol will be held 17, 18, 19, 20. That's 17, 18, 19, 20. And so 2 months into the future, you should be able to plan. The summer is now laid out. Just completed the June. July, we've been talking about now. August is scheduled and on the docket. That information is to be used however you choose to. Now, let's talk a bit about the, we should get into the cataracts here just for a moment or two before we take that first break. I had the first program for cataracts a month ago. Really looking forward to the next group of cataracts. Just finished with that eye program yesterday, and there were 3 participants in this particular show. This particular group, and way to assess, of course, how well we're doing with cataracts is really twofold. One, is there any vision improvement acuity-wise over the course of those 4 days? So, we test patients on day 1 and we retest them on day 4. And if there is an improvement in vision, it has to be by virtue of having improved the cataract. Now, that happened in all 3 of the patients we worked with this week. So look, we had a wonderful response. When we went to our eye doctor, Dr. Lisa Bowen, she confirmed that she didn't see much changes in the characteristic of the cataract, but as she was explaining to those patients, the improvement has to be due to improvements of the cataract. Whether she sees them or not, these patients saw them, and in a couple cases, they're very considerable. So we move forward. We continue to demonstrate that the cataract program has absolutely, pretty much 100% here with responses. And so if you're sitting out there wondering what to do about your cataract and you're sort of running a tally on your own to see, well, I didn't really want to be one of the first people to do this, and I don't know when you'll chime in, but of course you can count on me to continually give you information, updated information, as each and every program comes by. The retinal diseases, we had a patient earlier in the week. She did wonderful, patient with both glaucoma and MACD, all rolled up into one, and lo and behold, she hit the ball out of the ballpark. So it was a great, successful week around here. We feel really good about these eye programs. We're feeling absolutely wonderful about the cataract component of the eye programs. They never really had been in the past, but they certainly are now. And so you keep the running tally. I'll keep bringing you the new information with each passing month. We'll get Dr. Lisa back on the show maybe a month or 2 from now after she's had a chance. We had her on the show right after the first program, and that was appropriate. But we're going to let her just ease on back and take a look at a number of these programs back to back to back, and then we'll let her come back and share her impressions with all of you. I certainly will enjoy listening to her describe. What else? What else? The information on cataracts. Go get a copy of the Journal of Lifestyle Medicine, Spring Edition, article written by me in that publication entitled, oddly enough, The Cataract Cure, and information on how you can become enrolled here with the program. Of course, you can go to the website at the PittsburghEyeProtocol.com. That's just plain PittsburghEyeProtocol.com. There is ample information about what we do there. And, of course, we link on the Dr. Ed Kondrak's website of Healing the Eye and Wellness Center down in Fort Myers, Florida. We are the northern affiliate with Dr. Ed Kondrak. He is involved with every single patient that we run through the clinic. He knows of them. He knows their history. He has prescribed the appropriate frequency-specific microcurrent device with them in mind, particularly, and then allows me to do the remainder of the treatment program along with it. It's worked very, very well. And next month, we'll be celebrating our 2-year anniversary. We started doing these programs on our own back in July of 2013, every month, like clockwork, and have built up and amassed quite a nice group of folks over the course of that time who have responded just miraculously. Look forward to be able to do in the next couple of years as time moves on. Vitamin C kits, come on, get them, folks, before they all run out, and then we have to delay and reorder and reformulate and do all that. If you want to purchase a way of getting vitamin C, liposomal vitamin C, literally you make the stuff, and by making it, you save so much money with doing the in-home liposomal preparation in lieu of the commercial preparations, which are excellent, and we've been handling them and still do handle them for many years. But if you need a high amount of vitamin C over a lengthy period of time, a couple conditions warrant that, and you know who you are, then you may want to consider doing this a lot less expensive. It may take a little bit of more effort, well, a lot more effort on your part, but the payoff financially is huge. So we got a source of non-corn derived vitamin C and non-soy derived lecithin. The combination of those two allow you to mix your own and then congeal them, make them like stick to one another through the use of an ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. You heard that right. It's the last step in the process, but pennies a dose. Give us a call here, 724-942-3002. 724-942-3002. The disc is in production. The disc that I'm referring to, every so often we have the motivation to put a CD together of various shows done on a topic. That occurred before with the Dr. Frank Schallenberger shows, because you requested them so much, and we replayed them so much. We just put them on a disc and allow you to purchase them at a very reasonable price. Well, the same thing happened with the eye program, so we put together a disc. I put those together just a little over a week ago, and they're in production. We will launch them. We will make them available. The first opportunity is going to be at the Beresha tasting, which we're going to be talking about in just a moment. So if you're sort of waiting in the wings, wondering, hey, when's that disc going to be available? The only way you could get a first copy of it is to come to the Beresha tasting, and we'll let Mr. Keith Golby tell you all about that. Hey, speaking of Mr. Keith Golby, why don't we do this? Let's take a short break. In the interim, we're going to connect with Mr. Golby and find out what's happening on the Beresha front. We'll give you the specifics about the July tasting coming up. That's the 16th, and more particulars about it. What's going to happen there when we're back. So stay tuned. Keep listening. Be right back in a moment with the Beresha Report.
You become confused.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Here in KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. We're here in a Friday morning version of the show, and yes, we are in keeping with our traditional get 'em up, out-of-town version of the show. You're allowed to come on in here at any moment that you'd like to set the agenda that you would like to see it turn into. You do that by dialing us up at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. I'll listen for that knock on the door, and I will let you in the store. Friday's also become very familiar to you, too, because it's continually a time we get an opportunity to find out what's happening with this unique product line from a unique company. Well, it's called Beresha. And I've been a big fan of this particular I call them go-to drinks for quite some time now. Today, our representative who knows what's happening with Beresha and will get you up to speed on all those issues is Mr. Keith Golby. He keeps on coming back on Friday morning to keep us apprised of the Beresha situation as it unfolds, because a whole bunch is happening out there, folks, on the community. So let's say good morning and welcome him back. Good morning, Keith. Thanks for coming aboard today.
Good morning, Dr. Courtney. Thanks for having me on. Good to be back. Talk about Beresha this morning, a product that I found through you, actually, and in your office there, and something that I've become very enamored with and certainly enjoy. Can't imagine going a day without my cup of Beresha coffee or two in the morning, get my day started, and get my nutrition on track for the day right off the bat for the morning, as well as the other products. And so here we are. It's another Friday. We have some exciting news coming up. We have a couple of tastings starting to schedule and book some more events. We'll be revealing them as they become permanent on the schedule. And we have a couple to talk about today, as well as products and how they can help you.
Okay, so this Beresha, I call them the go-to drinks, but you keep on mentioning it, and that's how I start my day. So, I mean, way before there was ever Beresha, coffee was how I usually got it kicked off. I'm sure there's many out there that do the same. There are some people that don't, by the way, and I certainly can appreciate that. But this seems to be United States is enamored with starting the day with cups of coffee. I mean, large businesses, the Starbucks people have made and parlayed millions and millions of dollars off of that habit of ours. And the way to start your day, we've learned, and I put myself in the same category with you, Keith, is kicking it off with starting your day with Beresha coffee. What's so unique about Beresha, once again, for our listeners?
Beresha is a unique line of beverages that are designed healthy and help you in your nutritional and weight management goals and support those efforts. It contains that they are thermogenic, which means they are designed to burn fat, and that fat is then released as energy, so you get a double hit there, and they can assist you in those goals that you have for nutrition and weight management. The special blend that's in each product, there is a coffee that we've talked about. There is also a product called the Slim, which is a tea product, mango tea. Another product called Fit, and Fit is the lemonade flavored drink that also contains the L-arginine and the acai berry and other ingredients. And they are designed to be fat burning, assist you with weight management and other health, energy, and metabolism, help you with that and support you in your nutrition goals. One of the things that's really unique about the coffee that I like is compared to any other coffee I've ever had, the best way I can describe it is it's just a smoother drink. The coffee is prepared using an infrared roasting process, as opposed to regular coffee that you get anywhere else in the world. There's only about 1% of the coffee in the world that is infrared roast. And when the beans are being prepared, right before you get them, they are roasted, which roasting they are, they're cooked or burnt in the fire. And it's that fire hitting the beans when they're roasted that leads to what we've all accepted as the way coffee is supposed to be, with acidic content. I know people, for myself included, times when I would drink coffee, especially loading it up with cream and sugar, and I would sour my stomach. And also, some coffees that you'll get out there will have that bit of a burnt taste to them. And this comes from the roasting process. It's just part of the process in an accepted way that we have grown to get used to, is how coffee is prepared before we ever consume it. And Avzzia has this concept called infrared roasting, infrared process. The infrared roast, there's no fire ever touches it. So it's a unique process, and the end result of that is a much smoother coffee. You do not get that acidic flavor, that taste. You don't get that acidic effect. You don't get that burnt taste. It's a much easier to drink coffee. It's amazing when you drink this and you realize this is what coffee should taste like. And it's, as I've mentioned, we load up our coffee with cream and sugar and other things that aren't good for you because we don't like the way it tastes. We want to make it so we can drink it, so we add all kind of extra stuff to it. And one of the things that's really unique about the fresh coffee is that you don't need to do that. I always encourage people to try and drink, at least taste it or drink their first cup without any additives at all.
Mm-hmm.
That taste and really understand how it tastes and how coffee tastes. And I'm amazed at the number of people, myself included, that can drink a cup of coffee, the Avzzia coffee, without any additives, creams, sugars, no artificial sweeteners, none of the fancy flavored creamers, all those things that are just loaded up with all kind of stuff that are bad for you. You can just enjoy a pure, refreshing flavored coffee. That's extremely unique.
Absolutely. 4 qualities. I think I've always reduced this to 4. 1, all the product line of Avzzia, and coffee is, of course, the signature product, the thing that led the whole movement off. Thermogenic. You are able to burn fat by just drinking the drink. Unique. No other coffees do that. And to find out that there's a way to manage your own weight or your carbohydrate difficulties in just drinking a product such as this, I think it's a unique component that has to be shared with others. Number 2, this is satiety quenching, Keith, and to the extent that if you drink a cup of this coffee or the other drinks, the lemonade or the tea, 30 minutes before eating a meal, you'll eat less of the meal. The stomach will fill up much easier having preceded it with these drinks than they would have without it. The third quality, I think, is a standard in the industry when you're trying to promote weight loss and carbohydrate control. This is low hypoglycemic. And I think most people have heard those terms. The last one is the kicker, though. It's the one that I've never heard any company talk about. And of course, there's a reason for it. This blunts what's called the cephalic response. Now, it's a fancy name to describe a phenomenon that's just really not good when it comes to trying to conserve weight or absolutely losing weight in a healthy way. You want to describe the cephalic process? Because I think that's what's really unique about Beresha.
The cephalic response is your body's response to, as I understand it, to receive sugar or sweetener. I believe I've read where they've done studies where they've had people take, say, a diet drink, artificial sweeteners, just put it in their mouth and not even
swallow it,
spit it out, and your brain kicks in. Now it's expecting sugar, and so it goes into that mode, and all of a sudden you're craving sugar or carbohydrates. Your body begins. And actually, studies now, you can find them anywhere on the internet, are showing that people who drink diet drinks with the artificial sweeteners are actually gaining weight.
Gaining weight. Yeah. Wonder why no one else is talking about the cephalic response. I wonder. And of course, if you have a product and you're using one, there's pink, there's blue, there's yellow, all sorts of artificial sweeteners used. Those chemicals, absolutely extremely sweet chemicals. That we can talk about how harmful the chemicals are, but the sweetness factor alone is the tripwire. It causes a gush of hormones. One in particular, it's called insulin, folks, and you do not want to have gushes of insulin, essentially telling your stomach, here it comes, the bowl of spaghetti. There's no spaghetti following, folks, but every hormone is in play to handle the bowl of spaghetti that the body thinks you're going to be eating just by having a sip of that sweetener. It's crazy, but I really enjoy Beresha teaching me about this cephalic response, because it's the one that no one ever mentioned before. And I salute my hat off to the Beresha company for being able to do it. Now, Keith, you got some events coming up you'll probably want to tell our listeners about. We've mentioned one we've mentioned before, the other we haven't. Why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners what they can expect in the way of tastings out there. Go ahead.
We have coming up, and we've been talking about these products, and your listeners are probably wondering when they can get a chance to try them themselves. And we have an event scheduled for July 16th, and that's going to be at your office out there in McMurray. And we'll be there ready to go about 6:30 in the evening. And we will have coffee, the tea, the lemonade, sweets there for you to come in and try. And not only try, but get more information about it. We'll have information there available. We will have medical personnel on site that night. I believe you'll be there. And also joining us will be Dr. Angela Mises from Newcastle. They'll be coming down for today, as well as anyone else that's available. So there will be people there that can answer your questions. I'll be there to help talk about the products as well as the business opportunity. As business is beginning to boom here in the Pittsburgh area, we are in need of some help in getting the product out to the public. This is an exclusive product, so you can't get it in the stores. You need to know somebody who has the product available, not something you can walk into your local grocery store and pick up. You need to contact somebody who has it or to get it. And Dr. Courtney is available here in the South Hills for you to get the product. This is a great way for you to come out, questions answered, try the product, and see how it tastes, and see what it is that we're talking about, this smooth, healthy coffee, and give it a shot, as well as trying the lemonade and the tea, and the product called Sweet, which is a patent-pending pseudolin proprietary product that is a replacement for sugar. We talked about it is derived largely from the monk fruit, but it is derived from fruit and processed. It is low glycemic. It has a very low glycemic index. I think it's 0.6 glycemic index. And you will be amazed when you see this product and taste this product, because it looks like sugar, tastes like sugar, but doesn't have the same effect. So it's a great opportunity for you to come out into the South Hills and on the 19th of July. And then we also...
That's the 16th. 16th of July.
Oh, sorry, I got my date.
Okay.
16th of July, thank you. And that will be the tasting at your place at Courtney Medical Group on McMurray Road, 3075.
That's correct.
3075 Washington Road in McMurray. On out and join us that night. We also have on the calendar in August, on the 13th, there is a health and wellness event at CTI, Pittsburgh Technical Institute, which is out there in Robinson Township in the Oakdale area, off of Oakdale Road. And we will be there from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And also we'll be handing out samples and talking about the product and also the 7-to-7 lifestyle system, which we talked about. It's more than just drinking the beverages. There's a whole program that has been assembled. The scientists who work with Brescia, the science team, they have spent a great deal of time pulling together all the information that's out there on nutrition and weight management and all these things. They've assembled what we call the 7-to-7 lifestyle system. And basically it's built around the number 7. We can talk about that more, I guess, later, but the gist, there's 7 steps. First step 1 is to begin with a catalyst, get the product, start drinking the coffee, the lemonade. Get that catalyst to jumpstart your system and get you going in the right direction. We work on nutrition, exercise, overcoming bad habits, cleansing, but not only the body, but the mind and spirit. We then begin to intensify and then go into maintaining mode. And it's one of the things that's been very interesting being a part of Brescia. As an independent distributor for Brescia, I've gotten the opportunity to know other distributors around the country, to interact, see results on a daily basis on the internet, on social media, and otherwise. And it's just amazing to see people and the things that they've accomplished in the areas of weight loss by incorporating the Brescia product, 7-to-7 lifestyle system.
All right. Let's welcome everybody who wants to participate by coming out on the 16th. By the way, for a little enticement, a little bit of a thank you for those who will come out on the 16th. That's today, Keith. I'm going to release for the first time for a one per family all the eye programs. You're putting them together for us, and how they're coming along, by the way.
Pretty good. We're in the editing phase, and filing and matching, getting the CDs ready for distribution. So we're in the editing phase. It's going to be much longer. We'll have them ready for the 16th.
I will not launch them. I will not allow them to go out of here. The first opportunity will be on the 16th. So if you have a double mission for coming out, that's okay. That's why we're offering it to you. And so you can leave with a compendium of all the eye programs all wrapped into one that makes it pretty easy for you, for yourself, and for friends and family to play that one. So, Keith, thank you so much for coming aboard this morning. Another completed Brescia report. You've informed our listeners on where they can get more. Well, they can get a tasting in. By the way, you can stop in my office any day, and we say pick up a pod. Unique way that they package the coffee, so you just place it in hot water, and you'll have a wonderful drink in a minute or two. And then also tea and the lemonade available here. So you can do that anytime, but formally you can do it on the 16th, and then up and coming in August too. Thank you so much, Keith.
Thanks, Dr. Courtney.
Okay, there you have it, folks. The Brescia Report, updated Friday as usual. Okay, take a short break. When we come back, got a number of things on my plate. You may want to come in and start knocking on this door because of what you have on yours. To do that, dial us up at 412-825-6262. We'll be back in a moment. Continue on with our open phone version of the show. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again and participating in our Friday morning Get 'em Up Out of Town version of our show. You can come on in at any moment and set the agenda by just dialing us up at 412-825-6262. You can ask a question. You can make a comment. Any form of communication is certainly okay with me. I'll listen for that knock on the door, and I will let you in the store. I wanted to pick up on the little thing I dangled there at the beginning of the show. We had Lynn Teachworth on our show on Wednesday, representing the Avzzia microcurrent device. This is distributed by, I know it gets a little confusing, but you'll hear me use interchangeably Avzzia and First Alternatives, which is the distribution wing for the Avzzia company. Anyway, what you didn't know, and I didn't know it, is that when I was talking to Lynn, asking him, geez, you know, maybe sometime we could get you here in Pittsburgh, Lynn. Unbeknownst to me, he was already scheduled to come to Pittsburgh. Actually, he's going to be coming in the month of August for a convention. There is a national convention for the American Association for Massage Therapy. It happens here in Pittsburgh this year. Big doings. A lot of people come from all over the country into town. They're holding their conference at the convention center, the Lawrence Convention Center downtown. And Avzzia certainly is going to be in the room, in the exhibitor room, and Lynn is going to be there. And I didn't know that when he was on our show on a Wednesday. But in talking to Mike Legal, who is the CEO, head and chief cook and bottle washer for First Alternatives, after the show, when you responded, and folks, you did respond. We got a number of phone calls from you interested in finding out more about the Avzzia units, where training could be available, and so seeing such a response, I called Mike and said, Mike, what can we do now that he's coming to town anyway? What can we do to get a first training out of this fella? Because I think people would love to be trained by him. And a couple of phone calls were made. Now I can announce that there will be a training here in Pittsburgh on the weekend of August. Well, the conference is going to end on Saturday night, August 22nd. And we're going to have an all-day, one-day Avzzia training program that will be held on the 23rd. Now, that'll be a Sunday, but it just made so much sense to piggyback it at the tail end of this conference, because we think there'll be a number of massage therapists who are going to want to purchase an Avzzia unit, and the fact that they could get that training all in one wind-fell swoop on that weekend and go home able to use the unit was just too tempting not to schedule. So, yes, there'll be participants in the training who were in town, coming from all points from the United States. But if you are a Pittsburgher and you'd like to be in the training program, then you too will be able to participate in your backyard by the gentleman who appeared to really light your wick. You responded, and you responded forcefully, and we'll let both Lynn Teachworth and Mike Legal tell you all about it, because I said, hey, you got to come back on the show. So those two are going to be our guests on Monday to tidy this thing up and give you particulars about, you know, who's going to be involved, what's going to happen. I'll ask Lynn to lead to describe. It's Lynn. His name is Lynn. To describe what he intends to accomplish in the course of the one day, and then let you make a decision as to whether you want to be in the group. And then, Court, we'll let you call us up to reserve a spot for you. Right now, we use our phone number. We may find out there's another number between now and then, or you may just even want to wait. But if you want to enroll and at least reserve a slot, the number is to call our office at 724-942-3002. More about that on the Monday show with Mike and Lynn. I'll get that right, Lynn. Okay. In the news, I mentioned this the other day on Monday. I did a show segment called In the News, And during that segment, I mentioned to you that the state of New York had just in both the Senate and what they call, I don't know, the House delegation or the Assembly or something. I guess it's equivalent to their legislature, passed a mandatory bill for all those who reside in the state of New York of school age that they must have vaccines for meningitis. And there are a few other states, I think there are a total of 20 of them, that have such a rule. And it looks like New York is going to be pretty much strong arm on the issue of trying to make certain that children, especially those who are going to be going off to college, the age group that they're approaching is the 16 to 18-year-old age group. But that New York has decided it's no longer an option. You have to. Of course, they did not remove, and they better not remove, the philosophical objection, but it'll get a little dicey depending on where your son or daughter may want to enter college. Anyway, the further blurb, and I'll get to the phone call in just a moment, comes out of Atlanta at the CDC, where they go on record just yesterday saying, well, we're not prepared to make it mandatory for everybody. What we said that we want to have, and I put it in quotation marks, is easier access to vaccines. And this comes out of the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. There are 15 members of the committee. They took a vote. The vote was 14-1 to have easier access and not make this mandatory. There was one dissenting vote. Guess who it is? None other than Dr. Lee Harrison from our own Allegheny County Board of Public Health. Our boy Lee. He says, no, this needs to be mandatory for everybody. But the 14 others on the committee said, don't think so. We're not there yet. You're going to hear a lot about this in the up and coming months, nationwide, countywide, and statewide. Just thought I'd give you a little blurb to find out what all the hubbub is about. Hey, we got a knock on the door. Come on the store. Hello, welcome aboard. What's on your mind? Go right ahead.
Hi, Dr. Courtney.
Hi.
My name's Dave. I'm from Castle Shannon. I'm very interested in your the cataract situation. I would still I understand that I assume that the July situation has been taken over.
There's a slot or two available if you're interested in July.
And July is still available? Yes, I would definitely. Would I get in touch with the?
Okay, for those of you out there, look, I'll give you a phone number
and provide the monetary so I can pay for it.
Yeah, why don't you give Sister Sarah is taking all comers here. I'll give you a phone number that rings directly to her, and she can answer all the specific questions. But the number is 724.
Yes.
993 0500. 724-993-0500. Talk to Sister Sarah, and there is a slot or two left. Yeah, there actually is. Okay?
Okay. Is the promo still on as far as the 2000, or did the price increase?
Oh, hey, you asked a very appropriate question. July is the last for the introductory prices, so it's still at the bargain price. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Good call. Good. And for you that want more information on all the up-and-comings, I would suggest talking to Sister Sarah about it. Once again, that number, 724-943. I got too many numbers here, folks. Please excuse me. Here's the number. For the Pittsburgh Eye Protocol, Sister Sarah directly, that number is 724-993-0500. And, get yourself, well, at least get the questions answered or enroll. Okay. As we're coming into the gun lap here, thought I would bring to your attention a topic that, a number of years ago, I introduced this topic. I was just distraught over learning, and each and every year there was an annual statistic, how many people were bumped off. I know that's a crude term. Please excuse me. How many people entered the hospital vertical and then left the hospital horizontal? if you know what I mean. And that to me has always really bugged me. But it's a number that it just maintains each and every year. And then look, and the estimates are about 400,000 people leave the hospital horizontal after entering it vertical. And these are all been ascribed. The reason why they left horizontally, if you know what I mean, is that they had a hospital error committed, and because of the hospital error, they're no longer with us. Now, back then, that number just got me so riled up that I did a number of shows at the time on how it is that you need to protect yourself. And I was very specific about how those protections need to take place to ensure that you wouldn't be one of the casualties of, you may need to be in the, this is a tough thing because on the one hand, you needed to be in there, but you really didn't get out of there, if you know what I mean again. So, came across the list. So now a fresh topic, at least others are covering. And as I read the list of the things that you should do to prevent hospital errors, I noticed that there needed to be a 2015 update. Things that needed to be considered that really didn't even exist the last time I made this go around. And so to clean it up, to make the 2015 edition as updated as it can be, here are the 7 ways to prevent hospital errors from your viewpoint as the patient, updated to 2015. Here we go. Number 1, check hospital ratings and infection rates. There turns out to be a grading system, a hospital safety scoring system. It's called Leapfrogs. Yes, that's the name. Leapfrogs. Leapfrogs. Leapfrogs Hospital Safety Scoring System that grades all hospitals in the country. And I love the old-fashioned grading system. The grading system goes from A to F. Rue the day, by the way, that you wind up to be a hospital with a failure rating placed on you. But at least some agencies out there trying nationally to let patients be able to check out a hospital and how they stack up with issues such as hospital errors and untoward events which lead to serious mortality and morbidity issues. Those are the clean terms to use. Anyway, you need to check the hospital ratings, whatever hospital you intend to be entering. And I'm going to be checking this Leapfrog, by the way, because I just found out about it last night, and maybe report back how the rating system is looking for Pittsburgh hospitals. Anyway, you can take that one on. Number 2, know who is coordinating your care. Now, this is one that I didn't have to even think of about 7 or 8 years ago when I first brought this topic up, because there was only one person responsible for your care. It was your PCP. He or she was in charge of collating all of the referrals to the specialists and coordinating your care based on what they did and reported back to him was their assessment of you. Turns out there's a new player involved, and I'm aware of the player. I just wasn't aware of how evidently prominent it is to find what's known as a hospitalist, okay? Because the way it shakes out is your PCP more than likely doesn't even go to the hospital anymore, and what you're going to be managed by, or who you're going to be managed by, turns out to be a doctor, male or female, who is hired by the hospital to manage all the patients in the hospital. So a person you don't even know is going to be ended up running the show, and now he's especially trained to be able to do that, but you don't know him, and you better get to know him. So you need to know who's coordinating your care. If it still remains your PCP, whom you have a good relationship with and actually know face to face and have developed that relationship over time, you're not affected at all by this. But what's happening is the vast majority of doctors are staying in the office. They're not going to the hospital as they once did, making what we refer to in medicine as the rounds, and a hospitalist is doing it, and you better have a good face-to-face, heart-to-heart talk with your hospitalist that you didn't know before having really entered the hospital. So you literally meet them on day one. Anyway, that's a 2015 update that didn't even exist a number of years ago. It certainly does today. The number 3 recommendation for the 7 ways to prevent hospital errors is, hey, this is a good one, folks. Bring someone with you. You need an advocate, a protector, while you're in a hospital. Depending on the reason that you're in there and the way you may be medicated, you really aren't competent enough to protect yourself. I know you think you are, but you need somebody in there watching what's going on like a hawk. And when you're in a compromised state, you can't do it. You might be able to do it fully alert, but in a hospital setting, you are not the same person that you are right now, and you need to know that, and you need to take the steps to make certain that somebody is out there as an advocate looking out for your best interest and questioning what care you're being administered like a hawk to make certain that it remains kosher. I don't think that that's a new thing. That's probably one of the big things, big fusses I made a number of years ago when I did bring this to your attention. It's as ever potent and strong a protection now as it once was, and I literally insist that you have an advocate working out in your best interest. Number 4, don't be afraid to ask healthcare workers to wash their hands. And I put this in a much stronger term. I'm going to put the same thing in much stronger terms. It's not that you shouldn't be afraid to ask hospital workers to wash their hands. You know, we get a problem with infection, folks. Hospital infections, hospital-acquired infections are a nightmare infectious disease foray. It is devastating in some cases. These bugs don't have a bug juice that will respond, that will be able to, the bug won't respond to the antibiotic that's being chosen. And hand washing and the physical contact between hospital workers and patients in a hospital has to be dealt with by you, and make certain, not just don't be afraid to ask them to wash. Here's what you got to do. You know that guy called the PCP or the hospitalist? He or she needs to write an order on the chart. I insisted back then, I now insist, needs to write an order on the chart that anybody entering your room must not wash their hands, glove up. Have a box of gloves outside, have a clipboard that they need to sign in, and the fact that they absolutely complied with your request. If the doctor orders it, it will get done. So, you know, you might be sleeping, you may be, because of the medicines that are being used, you may not be completely lucid enough to make these demands. Your doctor needs to write the order. I think it's one of the best protections you can afford to demand that you have people glove up before they enter your room. Number 5, ask all questions when you don't understand. That's just understandable, folks. But here again, your advocate needs to be asking those questions. If you can't, and that sort of goes hand in hand. That's a common sense one. They mentioned bring all of what you take with you, like all your medicines, and the article that I read insisted that you bring your supplements too. That ought to be interesting. The supplements, especially some of my patients, they have shopping bags full of supplements. You want to talk about driving somebody crazy? Bring those supplements in and say, oh yeah, here's what I take. And just let them have some fun looking at that interesting collection of medication. And then the final thing, as the chopstick sound is being emitted, is ask for your discharge plan in writing spelled out point per point. There they are, folks. The updated version of how you're to protect yourself, the 7 ways to protect yourself from hospital errors. Do not become a statistic. 400,000 people leave that hospital horizontal after they've entered it vertical annually. It is a travesty. Take care of yourself. Hey, nice to have spent the time with you today. Look forward to seeing you on Monday. Remember, Mike Legal and Lee Teach will be with us talking about that conference to training one coming up in August. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AIM Impact on Your Health.